Well, welcome to Viking Preparedness. I am Pastor Joe Fox on day 2 of the PJ Old School Fitness Program. Oof, oof. This is a lot steeper than it looks on camera right here. Out taking a walk today. I ran yesterday, so I'm walking today with the pooches. We're down to only 2 again. Yep, we're rucking. Old school ruck, old school LCE, doing the things. A couple friends and I got together and talked about, what do you want to have ready to go in a rucksack in your LCE? And so we did that, and it doesn't really do any good to put it together if you don't take it out for a walk every now and again, right? And so what I think I'm gonna do for a while, until I get bored, I'm gonna go old school, like I said, and I'm gonna run and do push-ups and crunches Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And I'm gonna ruck, and do crunches and pull-ups on Tuesday and Thursday. Ruck, carrying a rucksack. It's good for you. It builds different muscles and micro muscles when you're trying, ooh, that sun is bad. When you're trying to get your body in shape for doing this. I mean, these are mountains, and again, I don't think you can see how steep it is here, but and it's rocky. Here, let me show you. See, this is not some manicured path suitable for wheelchairs. And so your ankles are constantly doing this. Your body is constantly doing this, where your center of balance is a little bit off. And so it fires all your micro muscles or whatever. And it's like anything else, you get better at it the more you do it, right? For 13 years, I hosted the National Winter Bug Out Bag exercise, and for most of that time we would bring people out here with their bug out bags, and we would hike into a location and basically set up camp for 3 or 4 days. Sometimes we would move once during our stay, but it would let people practice with the gear they carried, learn how to set up their tarps, build fires, cook their bob food, and those kinds of things. And we had what we called the walk of shame, which is if you forgot something, you could walk from where we were, the campsite, if you will, which was just out in the middle of the woods, so it wasn't a real campsite. You could walk from there back to the car, typically about half a mile to a mile to the car and then back, and you could get whatever you forgot, because we told people, hey, bring your bob, yes, but bring extra stuff. You know, if you think that this poncho liner is going to be warm enough, that's cool, but go ahead and bring a real sleeping bag. Leave it in your car in case you need it. I didn't want anyone to be miserable, right? Man, what always happened is people would show up. We'd walk for like a mile through the woods. I'm walking on kind of a gross road right now, but we'd walk for about a mile, sometimes less, really, through the woods and set up camp, and people would be dying carrying their bug out bags, just dying. And I'm talking a mile. It would take us like 45 minutes to go a mile. You should go 3 miles in that long. And granted, cross country a little bit less, I get it. But I would always give the lesson. All right, the purpose of a bug out bag is to sustain you while you are moving from where you are to your bug out location, and that may be on foot, which is why you put it in a rucksack. So if we're bugging out, our purpose, our task, is to get to our bug out location, which means pretty much every waking hour is going to be spent doing forward motion, moving, which means we're going to walk all day. And you guys can't walk for 45 minutes and cover a mile with your bug out bag. You need to seriously rethink what's in it. And oh, by the way, as unpopular as this is going to make me, you need to get in better shape. You know, infantrymen, probably the world over, but obviously I'm speaking of, that's a spider that I don't want to eat. Speaking of United States Army infantrymen in the 80s and 90s, they're pretty much young, fit men. You know, 40 is old for an infantryman. Most infantrymen are like in their 20s, right? Peak of fitness, stud muffins. And yet and still, again, when I was in, every, well, maybe it was only once a week when I was in the infantry, every Thursday. When I was in SF, we rucked Tuesday and Thursday for physical training. But at least once a week, these guys would go on a 4 to 6 mile ruck march, just walking down the road, usually. But they had to do that so that they were capable of carrying, whoa, check that out. The Neo-Hermitess will like this. Oh. All right. I don't really want to carry this all the way up there, and I'm trying to get these little teeth right here because she's going to want those. She makes sculptures out of these. Woo! Squatting over with a ruck. Lots of fun. All right. Do I have them all? Nope, there's another one. I'm getting the teeth out of the ground right here. See? All right, let me see. Is there any more? It's not like I'm set up to do archaeological digging. All right, these will go in my pocket. And the skull, I guess I'll just carry it for now. Where were we? These are young, fit, naturally fit guys anyway, and yet they still had the rucksack, at least weekly, carry their backpack to ensure they could do the task when it was done. Are you a young, fit 20-year-old? Well, then you probably need to train more, quite frankly. How far do you think you're going to be able to carry? This is what I'm walking through, by the way. How far do you think you're going to be able to carry your rucksack, your bob, when your life and the life of those you care about, depends on it? You just got to start doing it. Now, I know if you live in suburbia, it's probably not a great idea to go walking down the road dressed like this, right? It's okay. Get a civilian backpack. Fill it with stuff. Go for a walk. If somebody asks you what you're doing, tell them you've been watching videos of people hiking the Appalachian Trail, the Continental Divide Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and it motivated you to go backpacking, and you're just trying to get in shape. Tell them that. It's a reasonable explanation for carrying a rucksack through your neighborhood. You should carry in your rucksack not just a 50-pound sack of rice. You should carry useful stuff in case something happens while you're exercising. Carry a cell phone, carry water, carry some first aid stuff, carry foul weather gear. You know, start getting used to carrying your real stuff. I remember when I took over my first Special Forces team, when I became the commander of it, it's always a interesting time when a new commander comes in, and it's a feeling out period. You know, the men are trying to figure out the commander. The commander is trying to figure out the men, and everyone's assessing everybody. And unlike the genteel civilian world, in SF, it's like being in a pack of wolves, man. And they're always looking for weakness. And if there's blood in the water, now I'm switching metaphors to sharks, you're in trouble, no matter who you are. And so that pushes, that's one of the things that motivates SF guys to constantly do their best. Because the nice way of saying it is they don't want to let the team down. The other way of saying it is they don't want to be that guy, right? And so everybody pushes. Well, I remember I took over my team, and it was very different from the infantry, because, you know, I was brand new. I was in the infantry, went to some courses, went to the qualification course, and there I am, the commander, you know, with all of what, less than a year of Special Forces experience, all schoolhouse, in command of men who had a decade plus of Special Forces experience. I think my team sergeant had 17 years. So I show up, and, you know, in the infantry everything's regimented. It was when I was in. I'm not sure what it's like now. And it's very uniform. Example, I'll keep walking. When you're walking with 30 guys, 100 guys with rucksacks, whether that be a long road march to a training exercise, to the range, or just for physical training, on Thursday, let's say it's cold and it's starting to sleet. Everybody carries wet weather top, but you as the individual infantryman don't get to decide when to put yours on. You have to wait for the command, which always comes too late. So you're soaked to the bone, and then everyone stops. Everyone puts on their wet weather gear, because, you know, we had to be uniform. And then you start walking, because you're cold. Then you get hot, and you want to take it off. And you could unzip it, but you couldn't take it off till they told you to. Oh, in SF, they're smarter than that. If you want to put it on, put it on. If you want to take it off, take it off. And when I was in the infantry, everybody wore a physical training uniform. I was in Hawaii. So it was these awful yellow, like Levi material shorts and a white t-shirt that would turn red from the clay. Going up a hill here. Let me show you, because I'm gonna start breathing hard. Can you see that hill? Okay. So anyway, you'd wear these uniforms. You went to SF, it's raining, it's at Fort Lewis. I show up first day for PT, everybody's wearing like spandex, personal. Well, we went on a ruck march, and everybody's wearing spandex and tennis shoes. And they weren't carrying their LCE, their combat harness. And I'm the new guy, so I gotta think about it. But when we got back, I issued my first order. And I said on Thursday, when we go out, you will have BDUs on. Oh, the whining started. You will carry your LCE, and you will have footwear suitable for traversing North Korea on your feet. Oh, the whining, the moaning. We're just doing this to get in shape. We don't need to do all that other stuff. Yeah, we do. So, next week, everybody's there grumbling, wearing their BDUs, have their LCE. We start walking. We did not get out of the compound before we had to stop. And my medic had to significantly rearrange his LCE because just in a couple hundred yards it was wearing holes in his back with the meat hooks that are back there. And so when we came back, I made that a training point. And I said, look, what if we jumped into North Korea this morning and we're getting chased? We would have had to stop to fix that. Moral. Train. In the military, say train as you fight. Train as you're gonna fight. But for most of you, train as you're gonna operate. Train as you're gonna work. Train to do what you're gonna do. And if you have a bob, you should carry it regularly. It has been way too long since I carried a rucksack. I was carrying a little bug out bag for a while, a little one. And it weighed, I don't know, 30 pounds, maybe. This is different. And I feel it, but I'm gonna keep going. But remember when I told y'all it should be uncomfortable to talk? That's the pace you should go at. And that you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Well, I'm about done talking. And I still have about 40 minutes of walking to do. So I will see you out there.